In this video, I want to talk about costs of building a cob house. Now, I've talked about this a couple times before in the past, and it's sort of my opinion that the cost of building a cob house generally is going to be about the same cost per square foot as a conventional construction. Now, the reasons for that, one of the main reasons is labor cost. Building with cob or any kind of earthen material is very labor intensive. So that's going to raise up your labor cost. Unless you're doing it by yourself as a do-it-yourself builder, you're going to have those extra costs involved. So that's one good reason to do it yourself. Learn how to do it. You'll save a lot of costs in your building process. Another reason is that there's just so many components to a cob building or any kind of building. You know, a lot of people just think, okay, the whole building's made out of cob and cob is really cheap material-wise, but this isn't the case. You know, they're forgetting all the other stuff. There's the foundation, which is very expensive. There's the utilities, electrical and plumbing, that's expensive. Windows and doors, that's expensive. Roofing, bond beam, if you have that, that's all expensive stuff. Finishing, that's expensive. So everything's expensive except maybe the cob walls. So then the cob walls take money for labor costs. So everything, when added up, is really going to be the same as conventional construction or more expensive. That's my opinion. A lot of people would disagree. There are ways to cut the costs. If you're going to be very frugal with your money, you're going to use recycled materials, then you can save a lot on costs. It's possible. But generally, at least the style that I build, I like to build new. I like to build very high quality, up to high standards for people. So the costs are generally the same or higher. So just wanted to put that out there for people to think about some realities of costs involved with building with cob or rammed earth or any natural building material. Typically is going to be the same or higher. So something to pre-plan for if you're going to do a project. And I also wanted to add that there could be more costs involved as far as permitting and coding, and then whatever your team is, you might have to hire an architect or an engineer. So you might have other people apart from just builders. So the costs can really add up with building. Unfortunately, it's one of the unfortunate realities of the society we live in, is the cost of building can be extremely high. There are ways around a lot of these things, but it really takes research and education on these topics. You can save money as far as permitting goes and not having to hire architects and engineers if you live in certain regions or certain counties where building codes are much more lax or non-existent. But in a lot of places you'll have to get permitting and go through the building department and get inspections done, and all these things add costs. So for those of you out there who think you're going to build on, you know, hardly any money, a couple $1,000s for a house, the reality of that is it's going to be very difficult in most cases. Now you can build a nice house for, you know, a small house, I would say anywhere between $20,000 to $50,000. So if you have land and there's not high regulations as far as the coding goes, I would say you can build a nice house out of natural materials for somewhere in that range. And that's you know, there's so many variables to the cost of a home, but generally I tell people from my experience that you're not going to build very, very cheap. You're not going to build a house for $500 or $1,000. That's highly unlikely. And it's not going to be very nice, to be honest. So I would look in the range of conventional construction costs and possibly even higher due to the nature of the material you're trying to work with that is not very well known. You'll have to educate the building department.